Hey, everybody, time for another edition of Inside Lion Athletics. It's almost weekly, but gosh, we get regular stops. Everybody in Lion Athletics comes aboard at one time or another. We'll have Jim Curry today. There's a long list. It didn't come out in your TV guide, but we've got Clint Dolezel starting out, Brian Dolehide, George Pincock, Jim Curry, and Brittany Miller are all on tap today. Hey, let's start football. We haven't talked football in way too long, Coach. Clint Dolezel, how the Lions looking here in the spring?
Good. I mean, basically we talked off air a little bit. A whole new team. We've got signees. We're anywhere. I think it was 34 technically that we signed, and it could be one or two more than that as of late.
Mm-hmm.
But 50 new players overall for the most part, with walk-ons added to that. So it's been a back to the teaching process, which is not a bad thing. We're really starting over from scratch and trying to get these new guys to learn the offense and defense and new special teams. We've got a whole new coaching staff too, so a lot of new faces, which is I love. That's part of what we have going. Is what if you don't love it, you're in the wrong business. Because college football is a revolving door with players and coaches, and I love the newness of it.
Talk a little bit about how you've adjusted. I mean, you're going into year four now, and how, the things you've learned along the way and the adjustments have made.
Yeah. Where I was fumbling my way through it, early on that first year of, just being a head coach in college football and learning the other side of football, which football I understand, but there's a lot of others that things you don't think about as a coach in college of dealing with off the field, and handling a lot of different things and having to wear a bunch of different hats and which is I love now. I've learned that part. I'm able to juggle all that and put a good product on the field, which I think people will see the best product that we've had since I've been here put on the field this year.
Well, we saw some offense starting to gear up as the season went along last year.
Yeah,
But now, the portal giveth and the portal taketh away. We're
yeah,
hoping that it gaveth more than it tooketh.
it did. It did. We lost a couple guys that went up. That's kind of what we understand this is now. This is the business of come here, shine, and go up and go get some money. And we know that now. And we lost 5 or 6 players that went up, solid players that we'd love to have back. But that's the nature of the business now. And we went out and signed some really good players. And as we mentioned, how many we signed, and we signed some guys that's going to give us some depth in a lot of positions, especially at the offensive line
Mhm.
uh, and defensive line as well. We weren't as good as we needed to be in the trenches last year, and we went out and hopefully solved that problem.
Coach, you've always said I mean, and it's your background. You're a JUCO guy. You have a lot of faith in the ability of those guys. Do you feel like though now you're getting better JUCO guys than maybe at the start?
We are, and you know what? It's a matter of doing our homework.
Hmm.
You really got to go out. You can't just when it's off season, it's time to go get some new guys. All of a sudden, just go into a JUCO and say, well, we want this guy, and this guy. No, you gotta lay out the plan. You got to start wooing them now. You got to start really looking at their rosters, really talking to the coaches, really seeing and develop relationships.
Hmm.
And we have done that, and we've gotten some players because our coaches have done a good job of developing relationships that we probably shouldn't have got those guys. They probably could have gone somewhere else, whether it's an upper tier team that makes the playoffs all the times in FCS versus FBS teams that were wanting them as well, and they chose
Hmm.
us. That says a lot for our what we have going on here at the school, and where we're heading. I think people see that we have made some improvements, and with the ability to go to the playoffs now, I think we're ready to make a push and make a run to go to the playoffs. And it starts with talent, and if you don't have those and don't have the Joes to get on the field, it doesn't matter how good of a coach you are. You got to have those guys, and I feel like we're getting them.
Coach, you said of all those signees, 34, 38, that those guys are here. They're
Very.
not waiting to come in the fall and start dressing up. They're already on campus because they came in and registered for the spring semester.
It did, and that's the new model too. Something we haven't necessarily talked about. We've touched on it before in the years past. My first year we signed 24 freshmen. Those days are over. We signed three now. We signed three last year. We got to have guys that can come in and play. Doesn't do any good to develop a guy for 2.5, 3 years and he leaves you after spring ball and never sets foot on the field.
Hmm.
We got to have guys that can step in and play for us right now. And, if we get some guys that we can develop from walk on situations or small parts of scholarships, great.
Hmm.
That's what we're going to do. It's really hard on the high school kids. It's really hard on the high school coaches right now to see and understand that maybe this kid is talented enough to go there, but we can't afford to waste. And waste is not the right word, but we can't afford to spend a full scholarship on a guy that maybe deserves it. In years past, if you had him for 4 to 5 years, yeah, you went and did it.
Hmm.
That's
Sure.
just how it was. But now it's not that. And, we really have had to reach out to the high school coaches and explain that to them. And they understand after several years into this portal thing and how it's affected high school kids. It's really tough on them.
The way that the portal has impacted coaching in all the sports. I mean, we go through this with Rose, with Coach
Sure.
Val a little bit, Coach Brittany. Um, you, you Freshmen are really getting boxed out. True college freshmen are getting boxed out, and is JUCO the only way for them to go, or are we
No, I mean,
seeing more of
there's
them
a lot
at
of different ways.
D2?
In years past, it was the only way to go, but now with the portal, you can be there 1 year. So D2, I mean D3,
Yeah.
get some playing time. I mean, there's nothing more valuable than experience, and there's a reason a fifth year senior is better than a 17, 18-year-old kid coming out of high school. I mean, he's physically, mentally, he's everything's set up for him to be the guy. For
Hmm.
us at this level, at being FCS, not FBS, if a freshman's that good, we're probably not getting him. He's probably going up, and they will spend a scholarship on him, which they should, because heck, he may be able to play for them right now, and that's kind of the nature of how it is. Even if there's that good in high school and they go to FBS schools and they don't play the first year, they probably get in the portal, which so they're careful with spending, a scholarship on a freshman too. So again, it's about, what you're trying to get out of it. Are you wanting to say that I'm D1 and you're going to go walk on somewhere, or, take a less scholarship versus can you afford to do that too? Meaning, can your family household afford for you to go do that versus
Hmm.
going to take a scholarship at a D2 or JUCO and going to get on the grass? That's what we try to tell our guys that we're trying to woo into coming here to East Texas is we have multiple jobs open. You have an opportunity to come in here and win a job and start next year for us. And
Hmm.
so many guys leaving, graduating 20 something guys, the portal, taking 4 to 5, 6 guys. There's a there's a great opportunity for you to come in here and be the largest JUCO, play for the largest JUCO, meaning FCS, because
Hmm.
we're a revolving door too. You're coming to get your boots on the ground as a junior, maybe even a sophomore, come and do well and go get paid. That's what we're teaching. I mean, that's what it is. That's what we're selling to guys to come in, and now with the opportunity to obviously go to the playoffs, that helps sell it too. Um,
And and this you think you're getting the guys with this, so let's
we
let's
do,
go.
we
Hey,
do.
there is so much else we could talk about, Coach, but and there's so many places on the roster that y'all went after, but defense and the offensive and defensive lines were probably your biggest needs.
Sure.
Talk a little bit about how those have been addressed and how excited you are to have a huge offensive line room.
Yeah, no, we've done a great job. Coach Conley, um, it was a little bit of a struggle for him early on. He's used to, in the years past, being at big colleges, and he didn't have to work to get them. You offer them a scholarship, they were coming. I'm
Yeah.
going to Alabama. I'm going to, Oklahoma State. I'm going to Arizona State. I'm going to that place because, yeah,
They want me.
and there's money being thrown at him too, where we don't really necessarily have that. So he's really had to change his, strategy of getting guys here. And he was able to go get, 10, 15 freshmen. That's not it. We're trying to get guys in here that can play for us right now. And I thought he did a great job. We got some late guys. It was a little struggle. Signees early on were not in that room. And then,
Mm-hmm.
those guys were playing games too, and some fell to us late, which was great. And, I really feel like we're going to be deep in that room. We've got a lot of new faces. Yeah, we got some guys that will get back healthy that were on last year's roster as well. That will be probably not here in the spring, but we'll get them back for fall camp. And we're excited where we're heading in that room. And we did some good things there. And the defensive side you mentioned too, Kai Baugh and Isaiah Hare in the trenches are really, really shined early on for us in defense, which a lot of times, when you got a lot of new faces, you got spring ball defense is always going to be a little ahead early on. And
Mm-hmm.
they are definitely ahead of us right now, which is great. I love it. I love what Jesse Thompson, our new defensive coordinator, is doing over there on that side of the ball, who we got from North Carolina Central, who's a notoriously good football program, makes playoffs
Mm-hmm.
now, win their conference always. And also Duncan Paramore, Parham, we got from Central Arkansas, a DN
Mm-hmm.
that's really causing havoc and creating problems for us. And I love it. It makes it hard for us to get some work done, but if we're going against really good talent in practice, it's going to make practice games even easier for us. So love what we got going on that side of the ball.
All right. Man, coach, we could do the whole segment on
We
football.
could. I
We'll
got a
do
lot of
that
things to
again
talk about.
soon enough. We'll do it again soon enough. Hey, it's great to see you. And you got that'll be all part of a spring celebration. Spring, I forget the name of it, and Avi's not here to save us. But
Spring ball,
there's volleyball,
spring
there's
fest, spring
Spring
fest.
Fest. Thank you. That's going to be a busy, busy day, and can't wait to see the guys out there.
Yep, excited.
Okay, we'll lines up right here, folks, and take a break. That's Clint Dolezel, head coach of your East Texas A&M Lions, and we've got more coming up on Inside Lion Athletics. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Charlie Chitwood here with more Inside Lion Athletics. We go from Clint Dolezel. Let's go back outside. George Pincock, Lion Track. They already got one meet under their belt from the outdoor season over to Fort Worth for a little run, jump, and everything else at TCU. Off this week, but it'll be busy again soon. How'd TCU go, George?
The weather was great. I think that's one of the things our staff always worries about this time of year, early mid March, is that you never know what you're going to get. And we had an 80-degree day and a 90-degree day, and light winds, so we thought it was beautiful. But from the competition side, very happy with it for the first meet of the year. Saw a lot of improvement. From the end of indoor to that meet. And also had the opportunity to watch a few athletes that didn't race or didn't throw indoors compete outdoors. So excited about that.
How did they do in their first time out of the box, like the hammer or the discus? Those
Yeah.
student athletes.
Romy, one of our better discus throwers, coming back from last year, ended her season out over 53 or 54 meters last year, and opened up her season right at 49 meters or so. So, I think a very respectable throw this early, just kind of getting some of the rust off of that event and getting back in that groove. So really happy there.
The difference between the hammer and the shot put, you could probably write a book about just that. But it's a lot of footwork. Isn't footwork almost the most important part of having success in those disciplines?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at all the events across the spectrum of the throws, maybe outside of the javelin, there's some commonalities between all of them.
Hmm.
And if you can train commonalities, you usually see each event group improve as well, right? And so as the season goes on, you continue to work on those commonalities, but you kind of start to turn your focus a little bit more to the unique elements of that event and train those things. So for us to throw and jump even as well as we did this early in
Hmm.
the season, just kind of focusing on the big commonalities between things, I'm very happy with it.
Hey, Janelle, she's already told us all that she loves to be outdoors more than in. How'd she do? Did she get to jump at TCU?
No, we're kind of letting her get back into training slowly, making sure her body feels good. She
Hmm.
will more than likely open up her season next week down in San Marcos.
Okay. Uh, that next week, down in San Marcos, Texas State's having the Bobcat Invitational. There's another meet just a little bit up the road. Most people might have heard of the Texas Relays. How many are we going to take to the relays, and how many will go to the Bobcat?
I mean, it kind of depends. We'll see. We've got some relays entered for men and women at Texas Relays. Hoping to get a few people into some invitational heats. So I think if we can qualify between 10 or 15, we'll find out tomorrow what that looks like. That
Hmm.
will probably be a pretty good group for us there. Then we'll probably send another 30 or 35 kids down south to the Bobcat Invitational.
Good deal. When you think of track meets around the nation, the Texas Relays they're like on the short list of the best of the, you got Drake, Penn, um, you'll know the rest of them.
Yeah.
But what's that pageantry like for a really big meet like that?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's changed over the last, 10 or 15 years ago. Texas Relays was probably a bit bigger meet than it is now.
Hmm.
Um, but it's a meet a lot of these domestic athletes we have. They grew up going to Texas Relays, running in the Saturday afternoon finals in front of a full stadium at Mike Myers. Um, it's an experience, right? And then I hope
Hmm.
all of our athletes get that experience at some point, to experience a meet like that, the pressure of that, the opportunity to be on the PA system and get the trophy at an awards presentation. It's a lot of fun for early season meet.
Yeah, I'm thinking about when Rose and his guys went to Kentucky a few years ago, and we all walked into Rupp Arena, coming through the tunnel underneath, and
Yeah.
weave your way, and then all of a sudden you're out of the stands, and boom, there's Rupp Arena. Um, is it like that a little bit for some of the athletes in their first time to a big house?
Yeah, at Texas Relay is one of the things that they do. The football stadium is a warm up area,
Hmm.
so you're down on the turf in the football stadium for warm up, and then actually underneath the stands in the football stadium, they have some mondo track. So some of our athletes, especially the international athletes, some of the smaller school domestic kids we have, their first time walking into a stadium like that, their eyes get a little big and they have a big smile on their face.
Always want to run faster when you get into one of those houses.
Exactly.
So where do you think our strengths are going to be at either of those meets? I know it's an early season run, but you want to do well.
Yeah. As the coach, I hope our strengths everywhere. That's something we talk about as a staff is trying to build a well-rounded team.
Hmm.
And traditionally we've always been kind of a speed and power program. Hopefully we continue to do that and produce good sprint marks, uh, produce good jumps, produce good throws. But I'm excited to see what our distance group has done.
Hmm.
Our coach over the last, he got here in August, has put a lot of work in. Had a fantastic indoor season out of Anete every time she stepped on the track. She broke a school record. We've got a new athlete on the team, transfer from Oklahoma, that we feel like once she kind of gets in the groove of things is going to continue to help that program there grow and help us be more rounded as well. So again, if we can be good everywhere, that's what I want to be.
Coach, are there uh, athletes that just really do better outside than in? I
Yeah.
mean, are there some that just whatever it may be?
Yeah. Again, sometimes, some of the sprinters Sometimes they kind of struggle on the bank track. They don't really have a feel for it. There's a little bit of
Mhm.
fear. Um, Usually that goes away, but for some it doesn't, and they're just better outside. Some athletes, it just takes a few more races for them to feel like they're clicking and really getting in gear.
Mhm.
That happens outdoors more so than indoors. Um, and so, yeah, it's absolutely true.
Cool. All right, man. Hey, safest travels to y'all next week. Glad everybody gets a little bit of a week off this one.
Yes.
But man, y'all just go and jump high, run fast.
All right. Thank you,
All right,
Charlie.
we'll do that. Let's Lions up here, folks. That is George Pincock, head coach of Lion Track and Field. Not this week, but next week, busy at the Texas Relays and the Bobcat Invitational in San Marcos. We'll be back with more Inside Lion Athletics in just a minute. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Some more Inside Lion Athletics. We're going to the boss man today. We got Jim Curry back in with us. You've been there's just paper, a flurry flying out of your office every day, working hard. But what have you been up to, Jim? We haven't had you in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. Good to be back. It's we're in the we kind of got done with the crossover season, and it was quite a bit going on in February. But yeah, it's staying busy, and believe it or not, we had a staff meeting yesterday and started talking about football planning exercise and getting ready for football season. But there's a lot to do in the middle because you know sports are going to start reporting earlier than they have in this summer. We've got sports that are now postseason eligible that I think will be playing well into the summer, maybe even into June
Hmm.
with track and field. So, as much as we are kind of a little lighter in our home schedule than we have probably have been in the last 6 months, we are trying to stay ahead of things and also staying responsive to some success we're having around here in particular sports.
So, NCAA basketball, how's your bracket?
I never actually filled out an entire like full bracket, but
Okay.
but I have Arizona. Arizona is who I've got. I think they got a shot there, so that's who I had. I only picked a winner. I don't know if that was. Uh,
That's the express bracket. If I'm going to win it all, I'm going to make this choice. Good
yeah,
deal. That
totally.
there were some great games to watch. Can't
Oh,
wait.
it's
Also
incredible,
be
right?
one of them.
It's
There were,
incredible just how awesome the tournament is. I mean, and I know there's talk of expansion and things like that, and I think I can be. I don't know if I've got a strong opinion about expansion or not. I just so long as we preserve just the energy and the excitement of it all, it's such a special time, and so I think as long as we do that, we'll be good.
as soon as they got one of those, what do they call them? The first four in, those four teams that are just on the bubble of 64, and then when one of those wins and then gets a win in the tournament,
Yes,
those there's your instant Cinderella story.
except for that Cinderella right now is Texas. They're I wouldn't I don't know if they qualify as Cinderella, but they were pretty good the other night.
That- every now and then. Blind hog, let's see, blind hogs and acorns. That's the way Dad used to put that. All right. Hey, so you were talking before we even got started of what you have coming later today, and it's time to spend a little more time on facilities work.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, let's
yeah.
start with Renee's house down the street. That's certainly taking full shape. How you had the top out ceremony, a lot of fun around that. What's the latest there?
Yeah, topping out ceremony a few weeks ago. Obviously, a great event, opportunity for students to be able to get in touch the beam and sign the beam and things like that. And so, really cool event. And then, but honestly, last week I got an opportunity to go in and do a hard hat tour of it just to see where we're at and progressing. It was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like it was, I knew it'd be great, but it was better than I thought even going in. We were at an opportunity to kind of sand it center court and just kind of look
Hmm.
up, and there's more volume in there than you think looking at it from the road. And part of that's the floor is kind of sunk down in a little bit.
Right.
The bowl is, there's a natural grade that runs kind of high to low from Whitley back towards the rodeo complex. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you get in there a little bit, it gets taller very fast. We had an opportunity. They've laid most of the concrete on the concourse, and so we got to walk and see the kind of viewpoint from a lot of different angles. There's not going to be a bad seat in that house. It's incredible. So it was fun to kind of be able to kind of touch and feel it for the first time and kind of get inside it and start to envision what it would be like on a game day, because it'll be pretty special, I think.
When do you think walls will start going up?
I mean, soon. I mean, if you've driven by it any time recently, you start to see the steel supports for the walls up, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the folks running the steel on that have done a great job and moving pretty quick. So, the way they explained it to us is you're going to see a bunch of things, dirt moving, and it's going to seem like nothing's happened. And then all of a sudden, steel's going to pop out, and then it's going to look like nothing's happening, but there's a lot happening. And then boom, you're going to open the door. And that's really what has happened so far. There was a lot of dirt moving for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of like, okay, what's going on over there? And then out of nowhere, it was like steel started popping up. Obviously, if you drive by it now, I mean, it's almost all the steel's in, if not already. And you're starting to see the concrete getting laid to include. You can see the bowl where
Mm-hmm.
the permanent seat fixtures are. It's really coming into form.
Man, that's great stuff. Well, as soon as they get done with that and we go over and start making use of it, um, Field House is still there.
Yeah.
What's up with that? What are we going to do
Yeah.
there?
So yeah, we're a year out probably, but we're a year out from being able to get into the new facility. We're pacing well in that regard. So we had talked in previous segments about what we were going to do with the field house, some of that advanced
Mm-hmm.
planning with that. We obviously put out very publicly that we're going to explore the dedicated football training facility, inclusive of indoor turf, and the value that can provide, not just for football, but for all sports, as well
Mm-hmm.
as we probably evidenced from the weather this past January and snow on the ground and what have you. But, the thing that we really has been front of mind for us as we think about football is the day-to-day student athlete experience.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at this from a 365-day perspective, how do we recruit, train, develop, coach, future champions here in the sport of football and all sports. But right now for football to execute a practice, it's a four facility experience to get to everything you need to get to in a day. We've just got to try to get better adjacencies and better flow to the day, because not only that, it creates inefficiencies for practice, but it
Mm-hmm.
creates inefficiencies for student athletes to move from practice to class, meals, study hall, what have you. So we're really trying to think really holistically about what that looks like on a day-to-day basis and how do we improve that. By no means does that mean we're not thinking about the stadium at the same time, because we are. But
Mm-hmm.
this training facility concept has really gotten some immediate attention, in large part because of the availability of the space that's going to come available here about a year from now, and
Mm-hmm.
really the great asset that it is. And so we're excited to get that process started, start those conversations today with a global firm that has done some of the biggest training facilities in the country across Division One. So I'm excited to, again, it's a very preliminary conversation with them, but we've identified the group that will work with us on the programming of the space and see what
Mm-hmm.
might be possible. And so as we kind of develop that further, excited to get some more information out about that.
Okay, it's so much fun watching this stuff develop, but then you got to pay for it.
Mhm.
And the roar for four, it's not four, it's 4,000. So put a K
Right.
there, 4K. Uh, that has really, you've got some good traction on that. The list of annual donors for athletics, I think you said last year was around 800.
Yeah, we're just under
And
800.
and that was a boost to get to that. And
Mhm.
4,000 seems an awful long way away, but it's not everything that you can get quickly is as valuable as what takes a little time.
Yeah, no doubt. So to back up a little bit, in order to be kind of to streamline some of our efforts, add in other elements that are coming, particularly relative to rev share, NIL, and some of this new facilities fundraising we're going to have to do. We really looked at our entire fundraising framework and looked for ways to effectively evolve it, modernize it, and then streamline it, just to try to create some greater clarity and also open up some new verticals for us in that. So that was really the genesis of the launch of Lion Boosters, a fully integrated, comprehensive fundraising matrix that we have developed and will continue to, really evolve and build out under that umbrella where everything kind of lives. And so part of that, at the same time of putting that framework together, was to launch this membership campaign, the Roar for Four. And you're right, it's 4,000. And, how we got to that number, probably a very important point of discussion. We have looked at where the fundraising totals are for our aspirant peers across the country in FCS at the national level. Okay. And we'll talk, I'm sure, a little bit about this vis-a-vis the Southland here. But so I'm talking the Montana states and the Montanas and the North Dakota states, although they're not going FBS, but South Dakota State, those folks, right? Where do they, the folks that are consistently competing for national championships in football, and I think the and is very important here, and consistently competing for conference championships in their respective conference, giving them opportunities and access into the national tournament, where many of those schools are making some noise too, mind you. So that's who we're benchmarking against in this effort. As we look at what those totals look like at those schools, and we look at our average gift size, which compares very well to most schools in Division I FCS. So we should feel really good about that as a fundamental component of this analysis. We kind of did the math and said, okay, for us to kind of look at our average gift size vis-a-vis where those schools are at total wise, we need to get to 4,000 donors. That is a stretch goal. It's going to get uncomfortable. We're going to have to do some work. We have to bring more people in the fold. We're going to have to, sell a vision and really get people to understand and buy into what we're doing and really get everybody involved in this. But it's a very doable goal, right? It's a very doable goal.
Well, how many alumni are there? Just real quick.
100,000 living alum.
Say that again.
100,000 living alum.
There you go.
Right. I mean, and we know that the passion for this university and this athletics department is real. We have proof of concept in terms of what happens when the base and our fans and our alums come together to support athletics here. I mean, the championship pedigree here in history over decades, not just of late, but decades going back all the way 100 years, ago, I mean, is real. So, it is possible here, but it takes everybody. And so anybody that's ever heard me talk about fundraising has never heard me talk about, we got to get to this dollar amount. Never said it in the 3 years I've been here. It has always been about participation at any amount. High, low, big, medium, doesn't matter what the number is. Participation is key in this, and because there is strength in numbers, particularly at this level. So all that to say, that's kind of how we arrived at this number. We firmly believe it is a multi-year effort to get there, but I want to be very clear at the same time too, that just because it's a multi-year effort to get to 4 doesn't mean we are not going to enjoy the fruits of the endeavor and the journey along the way. Because as we hit some of these kind of critical thresholds, moving now from 800 donors to 1,000, moving from 1,000 to 1,500, 1,500 to 2,000, 2,000 to 2,500 on an annual basis, mind you, we are going to be in a position to win a lot more games across every sport on that journey to 4,000. And so, we talked a little bit earlier before we got on. I'm not interested in benchmarking against the Southland. Right. That is part of the analysis, of course, and that is part of the journey for us to get to where we want to. But we're here to compete for national championships. I mean, I'm going to be unapologetic about that. And we know that we can do that here. And so with that being said, yeah, do I think as we continue to kind of progress in this path. Is it going to help us win conference championships? No doubt about it.
Sure.
But I'm not satisfied ending there. I want to get all the way up to the top, and I know we can do that here.
Love it. Hey, you get to showcase a little bit of this and maybe talk with some folks coming up with the annual Spring Fest. It's going to be busy. Volleyball, softball, football, spring game. Soccer is going to be out there doing it. I've seen Coach Gordon out there on the pitch with her squad while we've been over at the John Cain Family Softball Complex.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's going to be fun. We're kind of getting into that end of the, we're now spring break, right, is over. We're kind of getting to the back end of the semester. Hard to believe. The amount of home contests we've got left, even in softball, is starting to dwindle. But we do have a busy weekend on tap for the 18th. So I think a good opportunity to get out, see a lot, volleyball, softball, football. And we've got some other things we're programming from the fan side as well. An ice cream social, some other things we're trying to develop too here with a few weeks left to go. So yeah, we'd love to have people out. It's a free day, whether you're softball, volleyball, football, what have you, it's a free ticket. We're just hoping to get people out and have an opportunity to engage with our student athletes. And, we've got some things we're building into to allow for some engagement between folks that come out and also our student athletes and coaches as well. So we're excited to share more about that, but we'll be getting some more details out about that. But the date is the 18th. It is a full day affair. Hopefully the weather will be as nice as it's been the last few weeks, because it's been really nice.
Oh, that's no lie, isn't it?
Man, I'm telling you. But yeah, we're excited. And again, getting ready for the fall, which will be here sooner than we know. We kind of touched on a little bit before, but 3 teams, all 3 fall team sports, soccer, volleyball, football, will report in July this year for the first time ever. And wow. So it is crazy to think how fast we're going to get to preseason. Because although our first home game is still, 5.5 months out, they're all here. Obviously, we added over 30 new guys this spring. So a lot of new names to learn, but also too, they'll be here all summer working out. The preseason starts the last week in July. We'll be on the road for that first game at Mercer and week 0 actually this year, and at the last week of August. So I mean, it is coming fast in terms of what we've got cooking here. So, but yeah, again, our planning for that has already started, and we're kind of just off and going now. So hard to think, but the fall will be here before we know it.
Man, I love it. Jim, it's hot. Gosh, you don't stay away so long. We got so much to talk about every time, even if we don't.
Yeah, we'll reconnect again soon. It's again, there's a lot going on and a lot of positive too, particularly around some of our spring sports right now. Men's golf, they've got their highest ranking ever as a team since we've gotten into D1, and they're doing a heck of a job. They're going to be in real contention. Obviously, we just got back from the indoor track national championships, having a student athlete qualify for that, which is an incredible accomplishment. I'm sure George has talked about how hard that is to do, and PRs and all over the place in track. The women had their best finish at indoor here last month since the first year in the league. So at the conference meet. So it's just so many positive things happening here that we're excited about as we get ready to bring spring to a close here. But so stay tuned with us. We got a lot cooking.
All right. Hey man, we'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good.
To take a break here. It's Jim Curry, athletic director at East Texas A&M. Stick around. We've still got a little bit more to go. Coming up, how about Brian Dolehide to talk about that golf, and then Brittany Miller to talk softball. Heartbreak yesterday, but saw some good things. Folks, we'll be back with more Inside Lion Athletics after this. Welcome back, everybody. More of Inside Lion Athletics for you. We are going over to the softball diamond now. It is head coach Brittany Miller. Lions took on Grambling last night in a one-off. Coach, oh so close, and oh so many good things, but it's just still not all together yet. How y'all holding up?
We're good. Keep sticking to the process. And, it was disappointing yesterday coming out on the other side of it, but a lot of good things coming out of it, and kind of continue to work and continue to get better. We have a lot of good pieces. We just gotta string it all together now.
Let's talk about some of those pieces because they've been some of your bright points so far. And I want to start right behind the plate with your catcher, Gracie Alejo. One of the best defensive catchers in the Southland Conference. I think she's thrown out more would-be base runners than anybody else. And she takes good care of the ball around the plate.
Yeah, she does a good job for us behind the plate. She controls the runners, she controls the run game. She's good with our pitchers all around. So, fortunate enough to have her behind the plate and her hitting's coming around, but her defensive play is definitely a bright spot for everybody.
And it helps that you got, when she's throwing the dart out to second base, either Emmy Mehy when she's at second or whoever's playing at short, they make the catch and the tag, and she makes it easy on them.
Oh yeah, she puts it on the money right where we need it to be, and more times than not. So, she prides herself in being able to throw runners out and feel good about her being able to control base runners. Even if we're looking to pick them off or, throwing them out at second base, she does a really good job being able to control those runners.
And it's clear that Haley Montemare, the other catcher, she's
Mhm.
kind of getting a little bit of that rubbing off on her because her defense has been noteworthy as well.
Oh yeah, she's a great defensive catcher as well. She does a really good job framing behind the plate, getting some of those strikes that our pitchers need sometimes. And so, but she also has an arm, and so I mean, trust either one of them back there and being able to control that run game and also control our pitchers and what we need them to do.
Okay. Charlie Anger, we're seeing a couple of bats waking up. Charlie's one of them. She's not real big, but she's got really good pop on the bat when she can turn on one. And
Oh,
it's crazy. She doesn't have a home run yet.
yeah,
But
she's
she
got a lot of
promised me
pop.
20, coach. So she's
She
gonna
did.
really go off on everybody here pretty soon.
She did. She does. She's got a lot of pop, and her bat's coming around. I think we got a breakthrough with her, hopefully, last night, and she had a really good practice today. So looking forward to what she's going to bring this weekend.
And then Tatum Wright, she only left the park a couple of times
A
last night. It
couple.
wasn't bad. And she hadn't hit one. It'd been a few days.
Yeah, she's doing a good job. She's probably one of the most consistent hitters that we've been around, and she does a good job of, controlling her at bats. And she might look real bad on one pitch in her at bat, but she knows how to, reset and get back to the next pitch. And she does a really good job just getting her pitch and being able to do what she needs to do with it. So, she's going to continue to swing it, and she did a really good job last night, putting two over. So.
I'm still trying to remember what my pitch was that coach told me to wait for. Um, I don't think any of the hurlers were that generous to me to find my pitch. But when a player's struggling like that, what's Coach Bruiser got to help them kind of get around that and come up with a hit on one that's not their perfect pitch?
We talk about all the time is you just got to hit hittable pitches. And so you're not going to probably get your perfect pitch or your pitch that you want in an at bat. But especially if we leave the first one and you don't go after it. But at the end of the day, like we hit pitches that are all a ball, two balls off the plate daily in practice. Like they know how to hit hittable pitches and what to do with different pitches. So she's really consistent with them, keeping their approach and making sure that, if it's a hittable pitch, drive it. Do what you want with the ball.
All right, when the ball gets driven by the other team, we have seen that Bella Arzola and KK Kosick, and I mean Emma Rodriguez in center field too. It's been a group thing out there, and that outfield has done a really good job.
Yeah, they communicate really well out there. And so, it helps to have the leadership of the older seniors. And so they're, directing traffic out there. Emma does a really good job moving them around and making sure that we're in good positions. But when the ball gets hit out there, we feel pretty confident that they're going to go either catch it or throw somebody out or get it close. So, they've done a really good job. Bella's been super consistent. KK has really come into her own this year and been super consistent out there as well as at the plate. So we're excited about them and continuing to see them just keep growing and getting better.
Coach, you got 3 games this weekend, 2 Friday, 1 Saturday at Northwestern down in Natchitoches. It's not a horribly long road trip, which kind of makes it good. But um, I think if memory serves, we had a pretty good set with them at their park before.
Yeah, we've done a good job against them. Excited about going on the road, getting them all together, and being able to have some of that team bonding, team time together this weekend with a shorter bus trip, but still a bus trip. And we're excited about getting out there. They're swinging it well, they're playing well. But I think after last night, I feel really good about where we're at mindset wise and what we're gonna do this weekend.
Okay. Well, Coach, I think that's going to do it here for this portion. But man, let's go down there and get them. And let's see, 4 o'clock and 6-ish for
Yep,
Friday's games, and then a noon start on Saturday.
correct.
Okay, that's the schedule. Hey, we're gonna have it on H on the Lion HD too, so be sure and tune into that if you can't make it down there and somehow that your phone's not working with the picture. We'll bring you all the sound. Coach, good luck to you. Safe travels. We'll see you down there.
Thank you.
All right, line up here, everybody. Brian Dolehide is next. Stick around for the last segment of this week's edition of Inside Lion Athletics. Hey, everybody, welcome back. More Inside Lion Athletics. It's been a really great week, hasn't it? Now we get to wrap it up with Brian Dolehide, head coach of Lion golf teams. And hey, the guys had a little trip up near Nashville. Coach, you weren't happy with the results, but you still had 2 guys finish in the top 10. Are you getting picky on us?
I wouldn't say not happy. I would say, I think all the guys expect a little bit more, as do I. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we had 2 guys in the top 10, which was really nice. We had a phenomenal second round of 10 under, I believe. And then, just a bunch of birdies. We had some really bright spots out there. It's just the bigger numbers and stacking bogeys really hurt us this week. And I'm sure all the guys feel it and are ready to get to work so we can prepare for conference here in about a month.
Coach, how similar is the course up there and what we'll be playing on for the conference tournament? Do you try to find courses that are similar to kind of line them up like that?
Occasionally, I prefer trying to play a field that is talented. So we're trying to go
Mm-hmm.
up against some teams that I think are pretty good. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so it really challenges us, and I think we've seen that a decent amount this year. Uh, in comparison, for the 2 tournaments, the only similarity is really the undulation out there. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of hills at both courses, a lot of up and down shots. Uh, but this previous course had typically a one-way miss. If you were going to miss, it had to be on one certain side. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Entry Trace, where our conference tournament is pretty open. So I believe that helps us. We've got a lot of distance on the team, and sometimes with more distance brings your shots left and right a little bit more. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so, so I think this course coming up really suits us well, and really looking forward to it.
All right. Talk about, we were talking to Brittany Miller about how her players communicate in the midst of a game. Pitcher and catcher get together. All of a sudden, the outfielders and the infielders are having a conference as well. You don't get in a huddle with your guys while they're out on a course, do you? I mean, they've kind of got to figure things out on their own a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that's what the practice round is for on a every Sunday. Typically, it's getting to understand the golf course, talking amongst each other, um, noticing some spots that, hey, if I end up here, this is a pretty good spot to be, or I'd prefer not to end up over there. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just those conversations happen on Sunday, and then Monday's game time, Tuesday's game time, and we reflect after.
So, as a golfer, when you're competing, did you keep a your own personal book for each course, like where you want to hit, and have that to refer to? I mean, that's kind of like a you're building up all your credits almost.
Me personally, no, and that's why I'm here coaching, I'd say. These guys and ladies, they are. We have we have books that show the golf course, and they take their notes, and then they look at it throughout the week. But I'd say by the time you get to the second round, you don't really need to look at it. You kind of know.
Okay, interesting. All right. Well, we've been talking about the guys and up in Tennessee, the women have a match coming up, and that's going to be over at Monroe, Louisiana.
Mhm.
I guess the Warhawks are the host school for that particular tourney. Who else is going to be there?
Yeah, a lot of conference teams there. We've seen a lot of these teams all year. I think the more important part for us is really just to we've seen this course a bunch as a team,
Hmm.
so really just figuring out our own game, understanding. We are extremely talented. Uh, we haven't really had our best season so far,
Hmm.
and luckily we still have two events to show that. Uh, and I think we're ready for a good one here. We started to trend in the right direction after Houston Christian and getting some work in after that. So also looking forward to this one, and I think we'll be able to put up some good numbers out there.
All right. Any medalist hopes in that lot, or is there a
Always, always.
always?
Yeah.
Excellent. Never a doubt. All right, coach. Well, listen, safe travels to y'all on the way down there and back, and hit them straight.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, folks. Brian Dolehide, head coach of your men's and women's golf teams. Coach, thanks for joining us. And you and the audience, you too, we appreciate it so much. And we'll have another edition, Inside Line Athletics, next week. This weekend, softball's away. If you're going to Natchitoches, we'll see you at the ballpark. See you, everybody.